Hi, everyone, and welcome to Light Conversations. Today, I have the wonderful Vanessa Conway on the show. Vanessa is creator of Feel, Move, Be and the host of Speak Up, Darling show. Vanessa is known as the Body Whisperer, and she supports women who are struggling with their body and need to get stronger, fitter, and to move with ease. I'm Tuche Koçoğlu-Hobden, and I'm the host of Light Conversations and also founder of Heart and Purpose. So, welcome to today's Light Conversations, Vanessa. I'm so excited to have you here. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and the work that you do.
Thank you, Tiche. It's really a pleasure to be here and always talking about the body and move a bit some myth around it. And so I'm a body whisperer. It's a holistic way, a holistic approach of the body through personal training, through any kind of physical training. What I do is I tap in the wisdom of the body directly, helping my clients to understand why their body is not doing what they want,
Mm-hmm.
shape-wise, movement-wise, but also ambition in the term of energy levels, in terms of being supporting others, family, work, and not draining themselves every time they're doing something. And it's really about understanding the body as what it is, a part of ourselves, a perception of an experience, and just make sure that there is a connection, a fully connection of love between the mind and the body, so the soul can shine through it instead of just fighting,
Mm.
fighting, fighting.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. There is this sort of disconnect, isn't there,
Yeah,
in this paradigm, this world that we're currently in.
yeah.
And we live so much in our heads. And particularly for women, I find, we are in this head and our bodies, we are, as women, we should be, the body is so important, right?
Yeah.
And I guess, what are you seeing as a personal trainer with a difference? I think, you've got this very unique way of looking and tapping into the
Mm.
body. What are you seeing with women at the moment?
It's a lot of misunderstanding.
Mhm.
It's that the mind is kind of directing everything, what they think at the top.
Mm.
And that it's a lot of you need to control what you eat, how you train, and pushing always the body into resistance,
Mm.
into age, through stress, through really hard workouts, through an countless hours of cardio, uh,
Mm.
really a lot of work
Yeah.
to push the body really always to the limit, thinking that if you push the limits, you're going to grow, you're going to
Mm.
go further. But in fact, what you do is putting more stress on the body. So bringing the cortisol level higher,
Mm.
storing more fat, and having this heaviness every time you're doing something, because literally you're burning out your body, and your body, the thing is really smart. It wants always to help you. It's not like the mind, that the mind is kind of, oh, you have to do this and that, and 80% of our thoughts is negative. The body
Mm.
doesn't do that. He wants always to find the best or the easiest way to for you to work out, for you to move, for you to walk. And it always takes the strong muscle, the stronger muscle, or the more seen, for you to do something about it. That's all. That's why always he's trying to help you until he can't anymore.
Mm.
That's why we break. That's why
Mm.
you can work, I don't know, 100 hours a week, or even over 50 hours a week, and you're going to collapse. because you're just pushing and pushing and pushing and working hard, when in fact it's not the way to go. But we've learned that,
Yeah.
especially as women, because we have so much to prove that we are equal as men, or even better than men, that we push harder than men when we are not on the same cycle. A man is a 24-hour cycle. We're on 28 or more cycle.
Mm. And
We
it's
are
so
more,
important, yeah, that we are different. There is that difference, right?
there is this
There is
difference,
difference.
and we shouldn't be ashamed of this difference.
Yeah.
It's fine. We are not made the same way, because we bring different energies into the world, because we don't need to be like a man or act like a man to have a successful life. And it's still it's really gripping onto us.
It's that patriarchal paradigm that we're currently in. And what you said earlier just really gave me angel bumps, because you said something that really kind of touched upon that. It's, we live in this patriarchy, and as women, we've kind of had to, we've had, you know, let's say in the corporate world, when I worked in corporate, male bosses, and it's almost like you have to mirror them, and this expectation to, I mean, I was told to be like a man. And when I was going for this promotion, I thought, I don't want to be like a man. What are you talking to me? I'm a woman.
Yeah.
But we're now seeing this shift, and this shift is really happening. This change is happening. It's for real, whether we like it or not. We're going to go in. Some people will go in there kicking and screaming. But this new paradigm is shifting. And as you say, this kind of the energies, the energy of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, it's this dance between the two that we have to bring in.
Yeah.
And going back to what you're saying, this pushing and striving, and what's that famous, that thing, myth that we're always saying, no pain, no gain, right?
Or go hard, go home.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Go hard, go home. It's, you know, and we kill ourselves over it. And I remember finding out my body just does not work like that. I cannot do it.
No,
And you feel like a failure, right? So many of us women have kind of felt like failures.
yeah, it's exactly what I felt working in the fitness industry. I was, because I'm not an athlete, when I started fitness, I was already injured. And all of my colleagues were coming from sports performance, football, gymnastics, a higher level of dance, or really kind of handball. It was really kind of strong teamwork. They were all kind of, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that, and that's it, whatever you feel. And female and male, I mean, it was all the same. And I was not at all like this. I was coming from dance and martial arts, but I was injured, and I had to really push myself to get the standards of these performances we had to go through. And it made me more injured. And also there was this conflict in me, that always I had all my mind ready for it, all my body ready for it, but it was never together. Because they keep saying, no, if you really want it, you will get it. If you put your mind into it, you will get it. And I can tell everyone, this is not how it works. The price of this method, this way to go, it's huge on the body. The body is not just matter. The body is not just a piece of dough. It's a Play-Doh, but it's a living Play-Doh. It has feedback, it has receptors, it has a sense of being, and a sense of a voice that we've learned not to listen. And that's why I fell for, I mean, I've been in the fitness industry for around 20 years now, and it's been a lot of up and downs for 20 years, less on the last 5, I would say, when I finally say stop of this kind of management of your body, of training. And but I was always really failing for the rest of others. I could have a really good session, but then the next time, oh no, I'm not that good because I didn't put enough weight, because I was tired. And instead of listening, why am I tired? I was just pushing through. And
Yeah.
I hurt even more my body until I got an infection in my uterus.
Oh, wow.
So that was really, and I pushed through this infection. I kept working. I kept teaching classes, and was classes like Zumba, like Les Mills, that were really kind of compact and strong. And what I was doing was I was doing a class and then I was sleeping. And I was doing a class or a client and I was sleeping until I got to sleep when I was driving.
Oh my
And that
gosh.
was kind of a wake up call. And I said, no, this is not possible. I can't keep going like this. And it happens twice. I
Wow.
was lucky not to have a big accident for that. But my car did remember about it quite a lot. And it was just really a wake up call of, come on, there is certainly another way to be fit without draining myself all the time. But once the infection were clear out and there were no more infection, the fatigue was still there. It took me a year and a half to come back properly into who I am, into my own energy. And that's because I attracted the right people around me to help me, because it was not just about physiotherapy, or it was about also nutrition, because my body was completely depleted of the right element. And it was really, I was pissed with the doctors, because the doctors also, the gynecologist was really not helpful. She was thorough through the tests because she thought it was a cancer at some point. So she was really thorough through the test, but she was lacking of empathy. She didn't even give me a sick leave. I didn't ask because, well, she didn't give me a one. She didn't even think of giving me one. And it's only at the end, when I finished the antibiotics, that, oh, but by the way, do you want a sick leave? And I say, well, it's been 3 months now. I've kept working. I think I will keep working through. And so it was really, I understand how it make me understand how the doctors are seeing also the body, like it's a machine. Like, okay, so we repaired that. We fixed the infection, the fracture, whatever, and you're good now. When in fact it's not that. When you have infection or a sickness, whatever, if it's just a stomach bug or whatever, there is still the recovery afterwards. And sometimes most people I've seen, they get stuck into this recovery because the doctor said, hey, you're good to go. Not completely. On a medical point of view, you're good to go. On a body point of view, probably not. Because you are, the part of the body injured is probably healed, but it's not working still with the other part of your body. So it means that if you come back to, after a knee surgery or an injury, just come back to run when the doctor say, you're going to still have the fear into it. If you don't work out on really not erasing the fear, but understand how the fear is showing up and work with it. To be confident and to be able to, okay, I know I have a sensitivity into the knee. It would be more like a signal to tell me if I'm tired or if I have to step back a bit or if I can go more. But it doesn't come as an obstacle. It's just come as a more intuitive signal.
Something that they were not taught. Something
Yes.
we do not communicate in society. And what you were saying just a moment ago about, the treatments, the doctor, and the body being more like a machine, and it's almost like isolated parts. It's like that part is okay, you're okay now, you're fixed, kind of off you go.
Yeah.
Without looking at the body as one organic, one thing that works together. It's not in isolation.
Yeah.
And you know, as you mentioned, it's well, that we're all given a timeline. 6 weeks, you can drive again. You know, that's usually after a cesarean or after, you know, like my gallbladder removal, or you know, all
Yeah.
these kind of it's. But we're all different, and it's, you know, 6 weeks medically, yes.
Mm.
And I think it's really interesting that you bring that up, because we are seeing now again this time of change that we're in. You know, who was it who said change is the only constant is change, right?
Yeah.
We are seeing these more holistic doctors and
Mm.
more, you know, doctors who are working. Who is it? I love his work. Dr. Amit Goswami. He wrote The Quantum Doctor. He's really, his work is very, very interesting. He went from mechanical physics to sort of more quantum physics.
Yeah.
And he's sort of kind of putting this template out there, and it's like, you know, how doctors now need to kind of work on the energy bodies as well. You know, we've got the whole body as a whole, but also energetically. You know, we have
Mm.
many layers of energy bodies, which we talk a lot about in Kundalini yoga, right? And all sorts of, you know, in our healing. So we have to go through, work out what is best for ourselves. And I think you just mentioned that there is we you know, we don't ask for, we ask for permission from others, don't we? So many times we give our power away because that's what we were kind of grown up used to, right? The doctor knows best, right?
This is also this kind of patriarchal society that we live in. We don't own our body.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a kid, what happens when a parent, grandparent, auntie, or even mom and dad wants to kiss you? Or give a big kiss to auntie or nana or things like this. Give a big kiss. Come on, give a big kiss.
Or the uncle that you know only met once ever. You don't really want to give a kiss to, yeah?
Yeah. We allow this to our kids. How can they feel that they can say no from a young age? It keeps going on. At some point, we're going to say, don't go to strangers or blah, 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 or don't. But no, it's not, you're not allowing to own your body in this case, especially for women. We have laws from the government to say if we can choose to have kids or not. Why? You have to ask the doctor to, if you don't want kids, and you know you don't want kids at a really deep level, you have to ask the doctor the permission, and the doctor will for a tube tide or something. And you can't just like go to the supermarket and say, oh, hello, I want my tube tides. Can you do that now? No, you have to go through the doctor that will say no, because you might change your mind. Even so, you have kids before, you know that, you still need to ask permission to someone else. And for surgery, is the same thing. We have to trust the doctor that he will do a good job. We put our life in every time when you have a general anesthesis. And it's not to scare anyone. It's just to realize that sometimes we forgot we can say no. Sometimes it's necessary. There is heart surgery that saves lives. There is surgery that really saves life. It's really important. But there is C-section that saves lives. But I know that in my case, C-section was not necessary. And I was forced into it because it was easier for the doctors. Yeah. Because they could have let me try to have a natural birth and be ready for a C-section. They couldn't because the schedule didn't allow it.
Yes, you hear that quite a lot. Yeah.
Exactly. I had a lot of women being in this position. And then you have to have this surgery that is a major surgery, a C-section. It's not a minor one. They cut 7 layers of your body to get your baby, and then poof, up you go. 24 hours later, you go out, you walk, and just let the body heal by itself. I mean, no. I'm sorry, the body doesn't like surgeries. It might accept it and it has to go through it, but you can have reaction to surgery on different levels. Personally, I felt the first C-section like a rape, because my body was not agree with it. My mind was kind of into it, was on the intellectual level, it was understanding, but on the physical, intuitive level, it was wrong.
I felt I had a C-section as well. My first, I actually ended up having two emergency cesareans. So it's really interesting talking to you about, this, yeah, and how you felt after. And I would agree. It did not feel
it's
aligned.
exactly. And yes, the C-section can be a success, but it's always a success from the doctor point of view. Your baby is fine, is healthy, that's fine. You're not bleeding, you're fine, you're healthy, that's fine. But it's not only this perception, because you have a scar. When you manage a baby breastfeeding or bottle or nappies with a scar, with no gut, or your gut that you have, they're coming out because there is no support from your core, it's huge. Still expect the mothers to be able to go around and do everything in just a few days after having a baby.
And picking up the baby. My babies were quite heavy. They were not small babies.
And just standing up,
Yeah.
it's a huge effort after surgery.
Yeah. So tell me a bit more about that. With the women that your own experience, but also the women that you help, you support with the cesareans, what is the impact? Because I know I've certainly felt it in my body and I still see it in my body. And so many women do not seek support afterwards because, like you say, we're just told to get on with it.
Yeah, it's a shame to say that you're in trouble. You feel in trouble. You feel that it's wrong. You feel that because your baby is healthy, because at the end of the day you're healthy, you feel like it's wrong to ask for help, support, mental health in this case, and to feel comfortable in your skin again, because there is no support for mothers, for new mothers here in this country. It's really little. You have the health visitor coming, you have the midwife coming, but to get a proper help like physiotherapy afterwards, you need. And the first help would be you deliver your baby, whenever C-section or naturally, you would need to have like a scarf around your hips to help your hips close. There is nothing in Western civilization that does that. We'll still have mostly the option of lying on the back when you know that it's wrong when you're pregnant. You're still not having this direct support of breath that even when you are doing a C-section, they should tell you, help me out delivering your baby. I forced them on my second C-section. I forced them to let me doing it with them and not just take my baby. On the first C-section, I had to remind them to give me my baby.
Wow.
I literally yelled at the surgeon because he was, oh, this is your baby. And he was not showing me the baby because there were this kind of
Screen. Yeah. Then government can say, here's your baby, give it a cut. Which is what,
and
we're
I
told.
said to my husband, you follow them.
Yeah.
And you bring my baby next time.
Yeah.
There is different options. Yeah, it was I can understand you can't manage the lights because they need the lights to see what they are doing. But
yes, those bright lights, I remember those bright lights.
Now at least they accept music, so you can choose your music into it. And but it's not as really you still have to ask. They don't like propose it. You still have, and you never know who is going to do the surgery. This is also another problem. I found, because especially on my second surgery, I said, who is going to do the surgery? Or this professor has this team. Okay, who is in the team? No answers. So I talked to the professor, but telling me, yeah, I might not be here. You need to understand that. Do you understand that I need to know who's going to cut me? I mean, it's huge. They don't get that a surgery for a pregnant woman is huge emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on my epidural, it took so long for the guy to do it. I was coughing, so I was not helping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very
But
still. Yeah.
I had a junior doctor doing the epidural, and he was doing it badly. And his teacher uh, was having a style of, do it, you stay there, don't move, girl, don't move. And she couldn't hear I was coughing. I couldn't tell her, because there was so much cough
Yeah.
into my throat, I couldn't tell her shush. And I was pissed with that. And I literally really, fortunately, the nurse next to me gave me her hand to manage it. But I pressed so much her hands, she was really in pain afterwards. But there, the junior doctor didn't do a good job. I had a bruise in my back. And the doctors just expect us to handle it.
Mm.
You're healthy, it's fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
It's and because I was not traumatized as other also in the ward afterwards, there were a lady really traumatized. I don't know what happened to her, but I think it was an emergency C-section, and I could hear that she was really, her energy was, I think, filled up the whole ward with her worries and her pain.
Mm.
It was huge for her. But if you don't like this, and if you absorb, like me, the trauma, you have no help. You have to handle yourself after a surgery.
Yeah.
And I found that, I mean, it's not the first surgery. I hope I won't have no more surgery for it.
Yeah.
But there is little
Takes a
information
lot.
on how you can restore your connection with your body afterwards. I met a lot of women really with problem with their scar from the C-section. They can't touch it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know
It's
for mine,
so
it's
uncomfortable
numb.
to touch.
It feels you can't, it tingles.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
And you pull some kind of nerves on the side. It's,
and your body shape, it changes, totally changes the way your body is.
yeah.
And it
Because
takes
they let this kind of, oh, but your hips opened for the birth, and that's it. Yeah, but if you put a scarf around directly after the birth and you tie it like a big belt, you help the hips to close. If you help your hips to close, you restore some posture.
Yeah.
The body is completely, how can I say? It's really difficult for the body after the birth. It's been for 9 months of hormonal changes, of relaxing coming into it, of a new tenant growing and sharing with the thing. So it's huge for the body when the baby is not here anymore. It's wonderful, but the core, it's an after war scene. It's the mess.
Yeah. And
And
that
it
area,
takes
right, is
time.
holds so many important vital.
Yeah.
We look at it from a glands and organs perspective, that whole entire abdominal area, but
Yeah.
also from the energetic level. If we look at it from the chakra system, the energy centers of our body, they're attached to those glands and organs. That's our place of creativity.
Yeah.
That is the birth of our creativity, right? Where we actually physically give birth. And I think we underestimate the importance and the relevance of those two, not just the glands and organs on the physical level, but on the metaphysical level, how that affects us afterwards. And I noticed a lot of changes within me, in terms of energetically, and having a very deep creative blockage for a
Mm.
long time, not without realizing
Yeah.
why that was.
Mm.
And I think you mentioned earlier, it's interesting what you said earlier around when, when we allow our children, or we not allow, we in the old days particularly, we were told, go and sit next to your auntie, go and give her auntie a kiss. You must give your uncle a cuddle. And you're like, but why? That body autonomy, we're kind of completely giving our power away from such a young age. We're taught that. We are literally learning that behavior.
Yeah.
And that brings me, kind of, it's to do with that boundaries, and why women particularly have these issues around boundaries.
Mm.
And if you also bring that back into the birth scene, like you just described, that's cesarean, these boundaries completely have dissolved, right? We've given our power away. Okay, doctor, do what you will. I'm just going to sit here, lie here, and this is, everything is, my power's taken away.
They are not here afterwards. They've done their job. Their job finishes when the stitches, even before the stitches are done.
Mm.
They took the baby out. It's fine. Yeah. Everyone is alive. It's fine.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I had this. You said about the consultant. I didn't know who my consultant was. Well, my consultant, I think, with my second emergency cesarean, I tried so very hard to have a VBAC the second time round, and I was like, yes, I'm going to do it. And I look back now, and I said there was a lot of, for me, looking back now, I had huge safety issues in my own body. Safety issues. And I tried hypnobirthing the first time. I really wish I'd done that live in terms of a live circle, a program with other women rather than doing it myself, because I was working, full time and, ridiculous hours. I just didn't have time for that. But I'll read the book and I'll listen to the CD or whatever, or the MP3.
Yeah.
But, for me, the feeling safe in our bodies, feeling connected to our body. And I was so disconnected for such a long time, so disconnected from my body. I was discombobulated completely. And I feel like if we feel safe in our bodies and we understand that body wisdom to teach us, to learn from that, it's huge, such a change. The doctor had to be called, so the consultant had to be called, because they're like, we can't perform the C-surgery, the C-section on you. And it was a Sunday morning, like 7:30 in the morning. I'd been, in labor for 24 hours, and they'd already said they're not going to let me, for the second one, they're like, we're not going to let you go through another, for more than 24 hours. So they had called him. He's like, it was Sunday morning. He's in Watford. We had to wait for him to get along, and they're giving me the, the epidural, and then he comes along. He's like, he turns around. He's doing this, who performed your last cesarean? I'm like, I don't know. It was Queen Mary's, not Queen Mary's, Queen Charlotte's, wrong hospital. Queen Charlotte's Hospital, who are renowned for their multiple births. And I was having my second birth in Watford. And he said, well, they didn't do a very good job, did they? Well, is it my fault? And at this point, I'm feeling the movement and saying, I think the epidural's running out. I don't think, should I be feeling the movement and the stuff going on? And I could literally feel my things being moved, and I could feel coldness of the instruments in my body. And they're like, pump, okay, nope, you shouldn't be feeling that, pump that back in. And that was a really surreal experience. But he told me that there were many adhesions from my previous cesarean, that my uterus, was it one of my fallopian tubes was stuck to something. These are the things that we don't find out about. And these blockages energetically, who have this physical blockages are happening, right? How do you then help women, or how can women try and, some of us have to have an emergency cesarean without, we don't want to. And there are many women who probably also judge themselves for that and feel guilt. And we can't feel guilty about it. We cannot judge ourselves. So obviously the first thing is have compassion for yourself. But as a trainer, as an intuitive body whisperer, what would you say to women out there?
It's the simplest way to connect with your body will be to be aware. There is the compassion way of seeing your body, but it's also this awareness of literally touching your body and just noticing what does it bring. We dismiss a lot this intuition of I touch something in my body and something appears. Energy, a feeling, a color, a person, whatever. And there is, we tend to see that as coincidence.
Mm.
But when you feel anger around it and you can't let go of the anger, it's because you don't admit it's a grief.
Mm.
You don't admit the sadness. You don't admit you won't admit the loss of something, of your power. From the moment you can see it's still there, you didn't really, it's not like you lost everything. You lost maybe a battle or something. You lost maybe this overpowering from all doctors or family. Also, it depends. But it's having this compassion of, okay, I'm still here, and I've been strong enough. Because usually we're going to put that under the carpet and go through it. But you need literally to reconnect with your hips and your pelvis. And it's go through breath. I've seen many women having this difficulty of expanding a belly to breathe.
Mm.
Because obviously there is this sensation into the belly, into the pelvis, but also we've been always told to have a flat belly.
Suck it in. That's what we're told when we are growing up, isn't it?
When we know that it's not possible, we have a womb, we have a cycle. It's not possible to have a flat belly all the time. And it's really to put literally the hands on the belly. See first, how do I feel about it? What's happening through it? And then breathe into it. There's still life. It's not gone. The hips are there. And to really, through this touch, through this breath, pour out everything that's coming. Draw, write. Everything needs to go out before creating something new. If you're creating something new on the top of the ashes of anger, it won't last. Okay, it's to have this kind of two ways. It's letting go, practice a letting go of what's there and creating the new habit in the same time, this new love of the pelvis itself. And it's not easy because it's so simple. We always tend to go for the most complicated things of, if I practice like this, if I do this, it will be fine. But if you don't face the feeling you have right now into your pelvis, fear, anger, sadness, you keep everything in. That's the thing. You just keep everything in, creating these roots for disease also. So if you're lucky, you might have like a clearing with another kind of surgery to clear all this adherence from surgeries. But that's unlikely because you can't just order that from the doctor. And it's also
have a little bit of clearing, please. Can you just open me up again?
Because it will help. Because when you don't have this stickiness between your organs or into your bone, it's just easier. It's just easier for the body to work better. And the second part would be to reconnect, especially with the deepest muscle in the core, or the transverse muscle. This big wrap around our our body between the ribs and the hips.
Mhm.
And that goes really from the vertebrae, and it goes all around. And it has this shape of the corset, but much more flexible, much more. You can do whatever you do with it. And it's this muscle that allow a better posture, allow a better way to breathe, allow to connect with your creativity, your sexuality, really create this new pattern of feeling free from the powerhouse. I consider, for me, it's where the pelvis and the core is where you have your infinite power. It's your source of infinite power.
Yeah.
And if it's locked into strong feelings like angers, it's just, you're going to explode. You're going to be like a volcano all the time, in a way that there is no prisoner. Okay, that's will damage your relationship with others in this way, because you can be a volcano of joy. That's much better. You just bring everyone together in this energy. But when you don't allow these feelings to be out of it, it's really difficult to bring to reconnect with your body in a sense of really source of love. Okay. And so just one muscle, you reconnect the top and the bottom of your body. You reconnect your strength, your energy, your breath is easier, and you stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
That's all represented with just one muscle. It's probably the most boring exercises ever, but it makes everything else in your life easier. The movement, the being with your kids, playing with your kids, that's what we want when we have babies. We want to play with them. We want to have the energy to play with them. And it's just with one muscle, you allow your body to just be.
And if your body is constantly trying to work and the energy is going into fixing and healing that area constantly itself, we don't have the energy to do the playing, the enjoyment part of why we have babies. We have babies, we want to be there with them, we want to play with them, because as adults, it's so important that we introduce play and our inner child gets to play, because that inner child is that connection to our creativity and that we need to have, which we grow up and we kind of told that, the school system, unfortunately, from a very young age, we're sitting at desks, right? And that creativity is something we need to keep. That's what makes us human. Human beings are creative beings. We are all creative. And I think what you said about that muscle, that core, in yoga, in the ancient yogis would say that, we have three chakras. Well, for the bottom lower triangle is our hold on, sorry, my the lower triangle, so our root chakra, our sacral, and our solar plexus. So like you said, the solar plexus is that powerhouse. It is that I am. And when we bring in that, when we strengthen that, it has a huge impact on how we show up in the world, right?
Yeah. You need to have the space for them. And we tend always, as women, to reduce. You want to reduce the waist. You want to reduce, if you have, I mean, I have a large rib cage, for example, but because I know how to breathe, it's just expanding. But I've seen so many kind of clients being uncomfortable with larger rib cage because they've practiced swimming, or because whatever reason, because they are like this, and trying to to fit into things that are smaller, because as a woman we need to be petite. We always have been controlled around that. So to get our power back is really through this space, that if you ignore it, you collapse. That's what I've learned from my second birth, especially, is literally I was collapsing. And it's not like I had a huge baby. I had a huge baby the first time, but not that much the second time. She was differently positioned into the tummy. But my transverse muscle were completely out because I had this huge gap in between them.
Mm.
I was literally, I had nothing really to bear my organs in. If your organs are out of alignment, you can't have energy. You can't reach your energy. The digestion would be a long process to it. It's your moving is painful because everything will go into your back. Your back is going to resist all the time to pull you up.
And is that why a lot of women experience back pain because of the lack of the support from the core? It produces, yeah.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because when we were born as babies, this muscle is already separated.
Mhm.
Because it's a way for space to grow, and it's healing around 3 years old normally, and then you build onto that. But obviously on this period there is a lot of change between 0 and 3. You start to walk, you experience climbing, you play around. That's why we are the most kind of malleable. It's just Play-Doh, and we do whatever we want depending on the genes also. For you have to be aware of that. But more you can play, better will be the strength or the posture afterwards. And not having one specific activity, like starting dance at 2 or 3, or starting gymnastic, or starting it's more the multi-activityness of the play that needs to be kind of really promoted in this period, just to be exploring the body. I mean, I was really proud because you have always this discourse of as this speech of boys always play with their willies, and it keeps going to adults to
Playing them,
and
talking about them. Yeah.
and it was true. I mean, it is true. They play, but it's not just for boys. I was so proud when I realized my daughter, as a baby, was taking pleasure in her space.
Yeah.
And I was just, yes, she's with that.
Yeah.
She finds she just takes pleasure with it, and there is no kind of, it's just self-pleasure. This is the first step.
Yeah.
And there is no conditionment and no conditioning. There is boys and girls doing the same thing.
And it's funny that how you said like boys have always, it's always been acceptable, but for girls it's not, as
Sexuality is something dirty still.
yeah, why would oh, you mustn't do that. As we as children we were told that that's no, you don't do that.
Yeah.
And then, and then it has major problems later.
And
So
yet it's difficult to,
yeah,
because you can't realize always that it's that, but it takes sometimes to just unlearn things. But to unlearn things, you need to understand that was there also. So and the body is unbelievable for that, because it's been there all the time. Is been growing with you, and is being absorbing your experiences on the physical point of view. So there is sprints of different experiences. That's why we can get fear on some new experiences, because we haven't digested well past experiences. But we can also feel some kind of contentment or satisfaction on others. I every time I smell some specific cigarette smoke, I feel good in some way, because it reminds me of my dad. Was a big smoker. I don't like cigarettes, but
yeah,
the smell of some
there's a memory,
cigarettes,
there's connections.
it makes me feel good. It's just, now some people that some experience of manipulation, or when I see some bullying from the boss to an employee, or any kind of thing, that would make me really, really angry, and I would be ready to punch the guy, because I was also like this when I was a kid, and I was bullied. So instinctively, I want to bring my guard up and just through it, and you have this reaction. But if you don't dig a bit into your body and see the experiences, you're gonna always be surprised. And the pregnancy and having kids, because it's not just for women, it's also for guys. A baby, you can decide to have baby, you can love them as unconditional, but they will trigger so many fears into your body that you never know you had.
Mm-hmm.
And when with my firstborn, my boy, when I was pregnant of him, I started to really feel the fear of school, because I had this kind of memories of being fearful at school.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't speak up. I couldn't speak, and I was really not fitting at all. And I was there with the bullying and the teacher demanding of things, and it was just for me too hard. And I had started to feel that it was not even born, that I was already feeling the fear of school. And it took me a long time to unlock it.
Yeah.
It's really pushing through. It's not even pushing through, but making baby steps to choose a nursery myself and make sure of the person. And then when it got to school, it was really, we were lucky with the school, because really it's a community school, and it's there is a lot of communication into with the teachers and staff and the parents, but it took a long time, and I still have this I won't say fear, but I'm aware of others' energies and others' kind of reaction. So it's easier to predict some behaviors, like when I see my son doing something he's not used to do, snatching or repeating the same words, I would say there is something at school that goes wrong. You have this experience of, okay, how can I support my child in this case, and being able to not dismiss the feelings and just, you have to go to school. For me, I don't really care. I just want him to feel safe.
Yeah.
Because he's a big boy, because he's loud, because he's have much energy, and it's true, it takes his place compared to me when I was a kid. But he has these sensitivities of others' energy too. But it's not always easy with other people, because he might sound as bossy, but it's more like he wants everyone to be into it, and he has this kind of energy of leadership. So it's difficult sometimes for others to get with it.
Which in the school environment, when teachers don't, it's like rein that in a little bit, bring it in. We're sort of we learn to contract that energy from a very young age, and then it becomes we learn to become that we are too much, and that we grow up thinking, oh, we're being too much. We can't.
And you
Be that.
can't, you
And we
can't be
try and
yourself.
suppress it. We suppress that light.
Yeah, you really learn to how to, okay, I can't be myself in a group. That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
I always shut down in a group, because I feel, well, also because I can see always different parts of the conversation. It's difficult to understand for people that it's not I don't have an opinion. It's just I have the empathy of both sides. And I can see your point of view, why you think you're right, and I can see your point of view, and I might have another opinion that you won't like it. I know that. But it's not, I'm not having an opinion. It's just, I see.
It's the safety again, isn't it? You're thinking, if I share this,
Yeah.
I'm putting myself out of the safety,
Yeah.
because it's not going to be. And it is that, again, it's this change, this era that we are entering, it's change. And I would call that opinion, that third solution we call that the elevated paradox. You've got this, but then there's this as well.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have this. Okay, if you have this, it's okay. You don't have to be against this one, because there have been times when we've all had our different opinions, and
Yeah.
we've all lived okay with each other's opinions.
Mm.
But this divisiveness that we see, right, that is always around, it's part of this change that's happening.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting, we can either keep doing that with each other and not accepting each other's opinion, or just say, right, that's great, that's your opinion, that's our opinion. But if we want to make change, there has to be an elevated paradox. There has to be the alternative solution, because
Mm.
things are not working. We're seeing things don't work the way they are.
Yeah,
um,
because I haven't really decided to be a body whisperer.
mhm.
It's something that came along my practice, and because I had also so many injuries, but it's and also it's from my clients, because my clients every time were surprised how much my eye or observation were accurate, and how by touching their body I was revealing things that they forgot about.
Mm.
I was just transmitting messages to them on what they you might focus a bit on that, on this part of your body, or this kind of trauma or experience you haven't really digested or healed.
Yeah.
And I never kind of promoted myself as this kind of person. I always put personal trainer because this is my qualification. And even with other personal trainer, I knew I never fit in the box of personal training, especially body transformation and stuff like that. But it's just I always shut it down on that. I was always doing, I'm observing a lot, and I'm just really, I have a lot of experience with injuries and recoveries, and I had also a lot of attacks on yeah, but that's the job of a physiotherapist.
Mm.
And it's true. I mean, it's a way. I wanted to be a physiotherapist before getting into the fitness world.
Okay.
I couldn't, because I didn't have the right background of science. But I'm really lucky I am not a physiotherapist, because they have so many protocols that it's not I'm anti-protocol, it's just I'm not comfortable to put everyone in the same protocol.
Mm-hmm.
That's why my fitness training are different also, because it's just, I see a body and I see a soul that doesn't fit in a body. There is this, I want to get out of this body. No, my mind is saying, no, I have to do this, I have to be like this, and my body is saying, I'm not going with it. So there is this conflict between the mind and body that I can see, because the mind has so many learning. It's really from how you grew up, how you've been taught yourself how to go through promotions, how to get at the top of the pyramid, when in fact there is no pyramid. I don't see a pyramid. I see a center, and I see expansion. And I work like this with my client. I see from the core, because usually that's where is the problem. It's the core. It's how you train your core. Don't do sit-ups. Sit-ups are the worst thing you can do for your core. You smash your organs, you smash your pelvic floor. You might
And
have
in the 80s, that's all we were told to do. Those Jane Fonda videos. Do all
exactly
5,000 sit-ups a day.
stop, a lot of curl-ups, and most of the time they don't really know what they were doing. They was just lifting the heads
Yeah,
and
yeah. So you're actually damaging.
bring your try to bring your shoulders up and put your
You're not
feet
even
under
working
the
your core, are you?
wardrobe. Exactly. And I did the same at the beginning, because I didn't know better.
Mm.
And it's just by experiencing pain that the pain I've got was telling me it is not this way. Because still in this society, we are fighting pain. The pain of you take a pill and you don't have any pain. It's just plasters. The pain, most of the time, the pain is because you don't face it. You don't want to hear what the body has to say. The pain is going really volume up, 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 when you refuse to hear the voice of your body. And when it's about like fibromyalgia, that the pain is just everywhere. It's been shown that by studies that it's reinforced by stress. And because we have three nervous system, we have the central nervous system, the paranervous system, and you have the emotional nervous system. It's there in your body. And it's through also the fascia that bring every communication between the muscles.
Yeah, so the fascia, that's another interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The fascia has been so much ignored, like the transverse muscle. There have been two things really ignored.
They used to take it off, didn't they? When the science is it the 1800s, and they used to take the fascia off the body when they were doing the
thinking
experiments. It was rubbish.
Yes,
But
they
it's like
didn't
a
know better.
network. It's like a web,
Yes,
isn't it? That holds it all together. It's a
yeah,
very intelligent system.
exactly. It's one of the heart of the problem. It's because your body is not pieces just with ligaments linking the pieces together. It's the fascia that brings everyone together.
Yeah.
That communicate from the hip to the chest, how not to be always hinged, but you have to stand up more. There is so many different layers of fascia that they are entangled. And you're not lasagna. It's not just shit. The shit is going through. Otherwise, you won't be able to stand up. It's a suspension world, the body. And if you don't have the electricity of stress, you can't move. This is as simple as that. This is the thing that you need the stress. The stress has been kind of overtaken by our life or what society says what stress is, but physiologically stress is needed. The word stress has been just misinterpreting as something negative into our bodies, but no, it's just that we need the stress to have this sparkle of and have electricity going through our body and everything kind of lighting up and just be alive. Okay, if you don't have stress, you're a vegetable. That's also simple.
Absolutely. Okay. We are electromagnetic beings, right?
Yes.
We are these beings. And
that's how we attract.
We are exactly. And what you were saying earlier about the brain, we're on the head brain so much, which is very useful for the rest. I need to cross the road, look left and right. Yes, right, good, wrong, bad, all that duality side of things.
Yeah.
But it's when we really step into the heart space, that electromagnetic field, which is 50 times stronger than the head brain. So, and actually the information that we send from here up there is actually where we want to be going. It's
the brain for me is a transmitter.
Yes. Yeah.
It is essential to our life, but it's a transmitter. It's this kind of Play-Doh that you need the interaction with others, with your surroundings to grow. That's for sure. And it's really fascinating, but it's not the most fascinating part of your body. And it's part of your body. It's not where the mind is. The mind is in every cell of the body. That's also something that people think too much. Oh, thoughts are there.
Yeah.
No.
They're part of the body. Yeah.
Everywhere. It's like just another kind of layer of energy around it and into each cell. So
and that's the interesting about the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions. If you think about the emotions are the language of feelings or the emotional body, which is kind of housed in that solar plexus area, it is the emotional body, and the emotion or the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
That's the language of the emotion. So when we have that emotion, that's when you were saying earlier about, you have to think, what is this feeling? But as you say, as society, we are so used to numbing everything. It is so acceptable to do that, whether it's through alcohol, people, we overdrink, we drink too much, whether it's through, I took antidepressants when I was in my, I think last year at uni, I was depressed, but what it actually did to me was numb me through my depression. So I didn't feel anything. And yes, in some ways it can be helpful for a little bit of that time if you're going through really great trauma that might harm, you might harm yourself. Yeah. But you know, we've got to be very careful that how much are we numbing ourselves? Because the feelings, like you said, we have to feel those feelings, that
Mm,
look into that. Why am I feeling this way? What is that? And it is uncomfortable, right? We're not saying it's not, and it can be uncomfortable, but it's that's breakthrough when you go, wow,
mm,
aha, okay. And then that can help you on your next stage of whatever, you know, your physical, your journey of your body, your whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in life, whether it's a new job, a remote promotion, all these things that we uncover. I
mm.
know we haven't got very much time, but I do want to quickly ask you a little bit about the next phase. We've talked about the babies. We've talked about our
Mm.
bodies changing through cesarean births and post birth. But then we have, as women particularly, we go through yet another big change, right?
Yeah.
Menopause. So the body again changes. Well, everything changes. Body is not, you
Yeah.
know, emotion.
Especially as a woman, it's always something. The
Mm,
menopause phase can be seen really as obviously disturbing because there is the heat phase and there is the mood swings. There is different kind of symptoms also. Not everyone has the same symptoms, but
yeah.
I do notice that if you, because there is the perimenopause
Mhm.
and the menopause, but if you really start to be um, digging a bit into this reaction you might have and that you feel, that's not me, and starting to kind of write like you were doing for the period bit of it, so of your time, the writing the symptoms of I was reacting like this in this situation, I'm not slept well on this night, and keep on journaling about these symptoms. It's much more, I won't say easier, but you can detach yourself from it. Because what I always notice when there is this kind of big change, it's we refuse the change, and it makes it harder.
Mm,
And that's why we want to numb everything. And the other part of the menopause and perimenopause is this kind of grief of not be able to conceive. And sometimes we expand it too much to not able to create
mm,
but whatever we want to create. So it's really about approaching this phase a bit more with joy,
mm.
with a feeling of,
Agree.
with this feeling of, oh well, this is a chapter that ends, and to open something different. And it's even weirder when you experience a perimenopause and your young daughter is starting her cycle.
Yeah,
I have a client who has it's in this period,
yeah.
and it's really, so they it's not so much that they are in conflict or whatever, but they're kind of supporting each other because
Mm,
they can see the beginning and the ends, and it's to accept, oh, you have these symptoms, or you are a bit kind of louder in some symptoms than others,
mm,
and it's really this awareness that we still don't have much, that we don't want too much to go through, because if you're aware, you're going to be you're going to recognize some kind of end, or recognize some kind of um, lost, or anything. But in fact, it's just you're not, you can't stay the same person all the time. As you grow in your mind and your body is changing, but it doesn't mean it's the end. It's just another part
mm,
of the life. But it is true, some symptoms in menopause can be really strong,
mm.
going to pushing to depression, when it's I won't be able to explain or say why exactly, why it touched more, because it can be related of other symptoms into our bodies,
Mm.
or genes. But it's important that more information you can gather from what you experience, easier it is to find the right doctor for you,
Yeah.
and so to find the right support for you.
Yeah. And that's so important. Yeah, finding the right support that,
It's they find a group
be
with other
empowered to find
women.
that. Yeah. Don't
Yes.
just stick to what people say, what you hear. Just don't just go, that's what I've heard. Oh, I need to just do what everyone else is doing. Really look, it's like we are different. Everyone is different. And so, when you find think about anything, when we look for a trainer, a personal trainer, when we look for a coach, when we look for a yoga teacher, when we look for all these things, we look for people who, or people who resonate with us, right? It's the
Yeah.
same with this kind of stuff. The doctors find someone who resonates with you, because
You have the choice into your doctor.
yeah,
What sometimes we don't think we have the choice, because if you go to the GP, you never know who you will get. But I was surprised the other day when I went to my practice and asked for an appointment, and she asked me, is there a specific doctor?
yeah.
And I was, oh, that's new.
Really, yeah. We've always been asked. Yeah,
Yeah.
our local.
Yeah.
There's only one doctor I will see, and
Yeah,
that's the one.
but we need to remind ourselves that
Yeah.
we can choose. Give me
Mm.
someone who is specialized in menopause.
Yeah.
Give me someone that has an open mind also, and that stick to what
Absolutely.
he knows. So it's a combination also of what is good for us, to have someone that can really listen, and listen at a level that is not just listening the symptoms, but it's really the connection with the person itself. That's how I practice. I do my practice. It's I connect to the person, and we see what's better into training for them. Not just, okay, you have back pain, Pilates or yoga. Or it's not about the activity, it's about the person. If you put the person, you as a person, in the center, you are in charge. And it can be scary for people.
Because they're not used to it.
Sometimes,
They're not suddenly like, what? I need to
yeah.
do this.
And to say no to doctors, it's difficult, because we have been learning that the doctor is right. The doctor knows best, when in fact he has a point of view. It's not always right. I've met professors that, and also
Have a
when
second opinion, right? But that's what they're
yeah,
there for. It's about asking. You have the rights to ask for a second opinion, a third opinion. People ask for fourth. It's up to
it's
you.
even with dentists or hygienists. I had this experience with one of the hygienists. She was rude. From my point of view,
Mhm.
she was really rude, and she was telling me, "Oh no, you had you have to have it was a general anesthesis to clean in
Oh,
between my teeth, because it was so hard work for her." And literally,
you're
and
all
she
the problem. It's like,
was really in try to overpower, but in really strongly onto me. I came to I was feeling in shocked how she talked to me, and I came to the receptionist, and when she asked me what I wanted, I just went blank and started to cry, because the other hygienist was just, yeah, you need at least 6 sessions at this price. And it was a huge amount for me. And also I was getting married. So it's just no way I could
yes,
do that.
financial least, yeah.
And I was lucky that the receptionist was really an open-minded person and aware of the behavior of this person, because it was not the first time. And she just drove me to another hygienist from the same practice, and it was not that much. It was, I think it was fixed in 3 or 4 sessions, but with me relearning how to do stuff that I didn't know about my teeth, about my gums, and I didn't need to go through a general anesthesis to. It was not general anesthesis, sorry. It was just mouth anesthesis, but local anesthesis. But I didn't need to go through that. I didn't want a big needle into my gums to go through that, and it was easy. And the other person was just listening, and she taught me. It was just about really re-education into that, because my last dentist did something wrong, or didn't tell me something, can't really remember, and it went wrong into my gums. I was really, really sensitive with it. But she just reassured me, and she just explaining to me the steps of what I have to do at home and what she's going to do, and it worked really well. And if I didn't went to the receptionist, if I was not lucky enough to have this person just listening to me, because sometimes receptionists are just booking the appointment and just do that. Well, I would have been through an horrible trauma with the other one.
Well, I take it a step further back and say if you hadn't been open with your emotions as well
Yeah.
and allowed, if you'd been like, nope, I'm going to be fine with this and suppress the emotions, if you suppress them and then you was like, okay, I'll do it. But you allowed the emotions to come through, you allowed your vulnerability to be open, and the receptionist then, you know, sort of was there to support you and was able to then advise, and you were able to come up with this amazing solution in that sort of moment of a kind of co-creation, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, if things don't feel right, if it doesn't feel right,
Yeah. It's
allow
like,
yourself to voice it.
yeah. And it's funny because in English, you know the expression, the butterflies into the stomach. If you feel butterflies into the stomach, it's something's wrong. In French,
Or not, yeah. Is it something different? Yeah.
it's completely the opposite.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I've seen that many more on American sites, maybe than
Maybe, yeah.
England sites. But in America, if you have butterflies in your stomach, it's kind of wrong. When in France you have papillon dans le ventre, it's fantastic. It's joy. It's
Yeah.
go for it.
I get
It-
butterflies in my stomach. That's how I feel. And I think people can think of it in two ways. And I think people do. And I think there is that discernment around, yes, if it is really good butterflies, but if it is kind of, maybe they're not butterflies. I would butterflies are happy and joyful. But
For me, that's
another
why.
feeling. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah. The other thing with this, listening to this feeling of in your guts, and again, it's if it doesn't feel right, don't go for it. But you need to teach yourself that if it feels right, you need to go for it.
yeah.
And that's still something I don't see much. That, well, yeah, for sure. If it doesn't feel right, say no or change your change your direction, whatever.
Yeah.
But if it does feel right and nobody else sees it, don't care, go for it.
Yes, that reminds me of something I saw recently, a post about this resistance. It's if it's not a full body yes. Sometimes it's not a full body yes. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a bit of a it's in my tummy. I'm not sure if this is a yes. I'm not sure if it's a no. I'm trying to discern it, but that's when we sit with it. Yeah, it because sometimes we do have that, like I said, the programming, the layers for of a conditioning for many years. There's that fear that pops up. That fear can sometimes stop us from doing
Be stronger
something.
than
Yeah, so it's really kind of then stepping into the heart space, right? Listening to that.
But like fear, like pain, it's
Mm.
we've been taught to fear it, to fear the fear, so you have to overcome it, or get through it.
Push through.
Pain is the same. You're not allowed to have pain. You have to overcome the pain. You have to shut it down. You have to go through it. And it's, for me, pain and fear, it's just, okay, why do I feel fear around it? Why is that so? Sometimes it's literally because there is a danger.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just because we've learned to be fearful.
We think it's danger. The ego protects itself. The brain is trying to protect us. That is what it's there for, right? Tries to protect us. And sometimes we have to know, am I in survival now?
Yeah.
Am I surviving? Or is this something that I need to look more into? And tends to, a lot of the time, we do try and protect ourselves too much. And I think it's kind of unlearning certain programs.
Yeah, it takes time, and that we don't like to hear that.
No.
If you think of anything you want to create in life, you will always have someone to tell you, "Oh, it's easy. Do this, do that," and poof, you have it.
No, it's not.
How on earth?
For some people, yes, it is easy, right?
I think it's it's this kind of people who are fully into the present moment, and also not attaching themselves too much
To the
to
stories. Yeah.
the stories. Exactly. And because it's like when you work on your limiting beliefs,
Mm.
and on the mind point of view, you think that, it's gone, I'm good to go, but in the reality and the results don't show it. It means that there is this step of embody. And I think I love this word, embody, because this is the part that we miss usually.
Yeah, absolutely. Our heads tell us one thing, and we say we think because we think it,
Yeah,
because we're saying it to ourselves that
yeah,
it's all over. No, 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 no. There's a whole nother step here. You have to embody it, and also if the subconscious isn't in agreement and alignment with it,
yeah,
if subconsciously the trauma is still there and the emotional body is still saying there's
yeah.
fear around this from when I was, 6 and this person laughed at me and humiliated me for saying this in this funny way, then we haven't gotten over them. Then there's not the alignment. But yeah, and then we have to embody it. And that's a daily that's consistency, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the practice of doing something that you will have to change the practice regularly, because it can't be always the same way, it can't be always the same input. That's what I've noticed even in training,
Yeah.
uh, physical training. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, you are gonna you bore the body. The body
Mm.
needs this, although the mind needs this structure, because it's like the monkey and can go everywhere. The body has already a lot of structure.
Mm.
It is a really headlines, and then you have to get these different inputs of doing some deep work on the postural muscles, doing some cardio, because your heart needs to pump more blood and bring more oxygen to have this feeling of more. And you need to work on your physical strength, on your balance, and that's, you can do that on the one session.
Mm.
I mean, it's not difficult. You bring one exercise, but what we've learned and how we teach fitness is you have to do an hour of this, and then an hour of that, and then another hour of this. And then you repeat, and you repeat, and you repeat, and you repeat until your body can't anymore. Because if you keep repeating, like you see the challenges that you can see sometimes, oh, do this squat challenge for a month or something. It's wrong. I know it's, and the worst thing is usually for charities, but
Mm.
it's so wrong. For me, it's so wrong, because first, you're not sure the person is getting the right technique. Technique is one of the things you need to get it right for your body. And then just because you practice, it doesn't mean you keep the right technique all the way of the challenge. And you're going to hurt yourself more at the end. You might have a sparkle in your mind of, oh, I went through this challenge. And it's
Mm.
getting your mind trained into, I can go through pain. And then you're going to what? You have a pain in your knee, you have a pain in your back, you're going to hurt yourself on the plank. There is no teaching here.
Mm.
There is no curiosity about what your body is really. It's just, oh, I went through a challenge of squats for a month, I know I can start something. So it's completely backwards.
Yeah.
It's something that's, I mean, it's still there, because there's still this kind of challenges, and it's still this same of things. I'm choosing an activity, I'm going to stick to this activity, and I will be fine, I will be fit with that.
Mm.
Not the activity that make you fit, it's your relationship with your body that make you fit. If
I
you
like
don't
that.
listen the signals, you're not going to be fit for a long time.
So it's your
But what,
relationship with your body that's going to help you. Yeah.
yes, if you just stick to an activity that at some point you will have some benefits of the activity, of course, but at some time it won't be enough.
Mm.
People who are just doing Pilates miss out on the cardio activity.
So would you say you need to have a combination of activities,
Discipline.
cardio, Pilates, yoga,
Simply,
or
yeah. Yeah, it's you need to be versatile with your body, because
mm.
your body especially for women. It depends on the month. It
Yeah.
depends on the day. It can be a 5 minutes workout. It can be an hour and a half. It's up to you how you feel on the day.
Mm.
But you always need this kind of different input into your training. There is rarely one thing anyway that bring you everything, because you need to have this. Your body is made like this. That's why we have so many activities. There is so diversity into the activities. You just need to enjoy it and to pick, okay, I'm going to
Yeah,
do
that's the
this
key, isn't it?
activity.
Enjoy the one, find
Yeah,
one that you enjoy.
it's like when you're skiing for a week. I mean, for in winter or on the springtime, you're going for the ski. That's really great. I mean, it's regular if you go that to every year, but it's just for a week, so you need to prepare for it. You need still to get into your frame, having your core, and like this, you have a plan for the year. Also, that at this season, you're going to do more maybe deep work and more for walks into forest or something that's bring a different energy. And then if you go for a week in the ski, but you need to prepare the month before, you need to get ready to prepare yourself for the ski part. And then if you go to the beach for the summer, it's not to have a beach body, God sake, no. But it's a bit, if you want to have any, if you dive, if you snorkeling, if you're anything, it's to have this different input that is really necessary. Can't just do one thing. Weight training is good, but even into weight training, you need diversity into it. And you need the technique.
Yes.
That's the point. Sometimes we tend to overlook. It's the technique. It's how is my frame, my posture? Am I engaging my core properly? Am I pushing right, depending on my body and not on the trainer body that usually is a bit more athletic or at least expert into his own body. But his expertise in his own body doesn't mean that you have to copy that. It's not the copying, it's the feeling of it. And if you don't allow yourself to feel, okay, I can push this weight today and it's fine. I maybe no need of weight today. Maybe I just can do without any weight today because I feel a bit low. This is also how you stay consistent or stay regular into your practice, more than consistent. And that's how you self-discipline yourself because you enjoy it. Instead of having this frame of someone else from someone else and sticking to that.
Yeah,
And you get
dreading
off.
going it, go, oh, I have to do the same thing and it's going to be really hard today, but my body doesn't feel like it wants to do it. I've got my period and, all this stuff. And you're, well, actually, if my body's saying it doesn't feel like it, what does it feel like? What does my
Exactly.
body want? Oh, okay, maybe I can just, like
But
you
you
said,
can
don't
always
use the weights. I will just do this.
yeah,
So,
you can always do
yeah,
something, even if it's just a practice of breath.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. The main thing is to listen to what the body is telling you about the emotion that's going around. If you're really angry, go boxing. Go
Yeah.
for something that will force the mind and the body to align and to pour out this kind of excessive or burning energy. But if you're sad, breathing, just breath, a practice of breath to connect.
The breath is so our breath is
Yeah,
so underrated. We don't talk about it enough, I don't think. Yeah.
yeah. And especially for if you go in a forest or if you go in a park and see life at its first uh, understanding. It's just life is the moment, the present moment.
Yeah.
But in the past or in the future, it's there right now. And if you feel, if you can connect to the nature, I mean, if you can't go to a park, you might have a plant, you might have just water. If you have running water, connect to the water.
Get present,
It's,
yeah, get
it's
mindful.
direct, it's there, it's present.
And that breath, we mentioned it earlier when we talk about our breath, just simple belly breathing. And I think we kind of brushed over it earlier when we talked, we used to hold sakatami in. And then, the amount of people that I speak to and here is like, well, let's start with the breath, because the breath is when we activate our vagus nerve and our parasympathetic nervous system as well to kind of let the body
Yeah.
feel safe and relaxed because
Yeah.
safety is key, right?
Yeah.
And we put our hand and you breathe, and a lot of us breathe paradoxically from the chest. And I know I certainly did. I remember coming out of a yoga class feeling like a total failure because like, I'm breathing the wrong way. But it's but we unlearn to breathe at some point. Children, we're all born breathing with inhale, belly out, exhale, belly in. That is
Yeah.
our natural breathing, but we unlearn it some right way down the line. And that if we could just, if one thing is just people just breathe again when you're making a cup of tea, you're sitting by the kettle, or you're,
Yeah.
I don't know, just
Even
having a
the warmth of the cup,
yes.
smelling your coffee or your tea, it's
Mm,
just by connecting. If you look for outside answers, it's through the sense, because we tend to focus on these five senses that we
mm,
have. But these five senses, obviously, they are not wrong at all. They are really useful. They are connected to outside of us.
yeah,
It's
so true.
feedback from the surroundings.
Yeah.
So if your surroundings make you feel heavy, connect with this really smell, test, touch, and explore them. But we have also these two senses, inside, internal, that we tend to poo-poo again on the side. That are the sense of posture, the sense of balance,
Mm,
and the sense of locomotion.
mm,
That's through our inner system, not outside. Okay. And training should also be that. If you don't have this sense of where you put your feet onto the floor, how you move with your hands and feet on the floor, you miss out. It's really be able to even train eyes closed or
mm.
in a dark room and feeling safe.
It's funny when you were talking about that, it reminded me of, for just moving, just dancing. And as kids, we love to dance and
Yeah,
move
this
and
is the easy way.
bringing that into your day and just having a cup of tea. I know you sway, move, and feel the connection to the ground and get grounded or earthed. Yeah, that's something really simple we can all do, right? We can all bring that into our day.
Yeah.
Playful.
We, as when we grow up, we kind of fit in a box,
Yeah.
especially body wise. We just, okay, I'm doing this job and I'm a mom and stuff, so I have
Mm,
to fit this box.
yeah.
Boring.
Exactly. We don't fit it. We're not fitting in boxes. We're all different. We're all
Yeah,
completely unique. And, we have to, and it took me a long time to go, I'm never going to look like that person because my body is completely different. And
exactly.
that's okay.
Yes.
And it is okay.
Only to, if you look at all the fitness trainers, at some level, they all look a bit the same. This have this, especially if you have a six pack or whatever, it's and you realize, do you really want to look like everyone, or
Mm,
do you want to be yourself? Maybe being yourself is a bit more toned or stuff like this, but I can tell you a six pack is not necessary at all. A six pack show also your fat input into your body, and usually it means that you don't have enough.
mm,
Especially as women, we need around 20-25% of fat.
right.
If you go under that, your hormones are getting crazier. Your ability to create is
Mm,
lower. So it's really important to really choose on if you want to get strong, don't associate with what marketing is getting on. It
mm,
is not strong, it is tough. Toughness bring just erase empathy. When you're tough, you don't really care feelings of others. When
mm.
you're tough, you're just ready for war. You're ready to, come on, I want my promotion. That's good. And nothing else is counting into it. That's the main difference. Strength doesn't mean that you have to be someone else. It's just to reveal who you are.
Yeah. The true, the true self, right? And so, Vanessa, are you taking on one-to-one clients at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
anyone watching this program, this podcast, if anyone's interested and has enjoyed what Vanessa is saying, there's I'll put the links of for your website, which I know I have. Where do I have it? I had it written down here. Website. It is feelmovebewithvanessa.com, and I'll include all your social media handles, your Instagram, your Facebook, LinkedIn, whichever ones as well on the bottom of this.
Yeah. Enjoy your free call, free chat with me. There is
Yes.
no commitment. It's just if you want a chat, if you want advice on your training or which directions to take, or if you just want having a different input about your body. Also, it's something that sometimes we get just lost between advice from doctors or test results or things like this. It can be okay. I know something is wrong, but and I've done many tests, medical tests, and I have no answer. And what do I do now? I can't stick to any activities. I can't stick to, it seems I can't do anything with myself. And it's where I come.
Yes. Vanessa's fantastic. She offers this, this free call as well. So, if anyone's got any questions for Vanessa, reach out. And
just check.
and what else have you got I guess before, as we wrap up, what other exciting things or what's next for Vanessa?
Well, I've created a membership that bring a bit of different input of my experience about training. So there is access to really how to feel strong and how to move with confidence through group classes, through different kind of video on demand challenges, but also through meditation, body scan, a different input, how to play also with music, how to be aware of our surroundings, because as we explore, it's also the energy we have for ourselves and the energy around ourselves that can bring us down. So how to shift this moment of, I would say, darkness, but how to embrace them too. It's the only thing darkness fear is your light. So it's just about expressing and revealing what your light is and connect it with more and more. And in this membership, I've really tried to bring this different input, and then we'll have also guests that will bring their own expertise into it. And that's I'm really looking for that, because we are all unique, and we all have our own experience shaping our way to work and what we bring into the world. And have a panel of guests like Tiche that are going to give some other lights, and I'm really looking forward to that. That's my big plan.
Sounds fantastic. And when does that launch?
So this will launch in June.
June. Okay.
And I have some options starting in May, but the big one will be from June.
Not too long.
Fantastic.
Summer.
All the warmth.
Amazing. Yes. And as we are stepping into spring, although it still doesn't look like it outside or feel like it yet in the UK, we are stepping into spring and summer, and we are all kind of coming out of our hibernations, ready to be out in the world. Thank you, Vanessa. This has been awesome. Such a wonderful conversation with you. Thank you so much for being a guest on Light Conversations.
Thank you for inviting me, Tiche. It was really nice to talk to you. And I like the way you bring this energy and that you're opening so many doors for people. It's just so nice. And I would just want more from you. It's just, it's really good flow to be with you. It's really good.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. Sending you loads of love, and everyone will have all of Vanessa's details below. So yes, reach out to Vanessa. She is amazing, and she's here to help everyone.